Good evening. At least 4 Philippine Navy personnel were injured following the China Coast Guard's firing of a water cannon at a Philippine ship involved in a resupply mission in the West Philippine Sea on Tuesday, March 5. The National Security Council says the Navy members were aboard Uniza May 4, which was attacked by the water cannon. According to the National Security Council, the China Coast Guard's use of water cannons shattered the windshield of the Philippine vessel. This caused minor injuries to at least 4 personnel on board. Philippine Coast Guard personnel from the BRP Sindangan treated the injured Navy personnel. According to the PCG, Uniza May 4 went back to mainland Palawan due to the damage and injury sustained by the vessel and crew. Meanwhile, Uniza May 1 successfully reached BRP Sierra Madre for resupply. Earlier on Tuesday, PCG spokesperson for the West Philippine Sea Commodore J. Tariela reported that PCG and China Coast Guard vessels collided in the West Philippine Sea, causing minor structural damage to the Philippines ship. The Philippine vessels were on a rotation and reprovisioning operation of the Armed Forces of the Philippines for troops stationed at BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. The Department of Foreign Affairs says it summoned the Chinese Deputy Chief of Mission on Tuesday afternoon to convey the Philippines' protest against China's aggressive actions in Ayungin Shoal. The Philippine government summoned the Chinese Deputy Chief of Mission over the collision between Manila and Beijing's vessels in the Ayungin Shoal. During the meeting with Chinese Deputy Chief of Mission Zhao Zhiyong, Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Teresita Daza conveyed the Philippine government's protest against China's most recent aggressions. According to Daza, the Philippines appealed for Chinese vessels to immediately leave the vicinity of Ayungin Shoal. The DFA officials stressed that China's interference with the Philippines' routine and lawful activities in its own exclusive economic zone is unacceptable. In a statement, the DFA maintains that Ayungin Shoal is a low-tide elevation that sits well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. On Tuesday, the Philippine Coast Guard reported a collision between the PCG and China Coast Guard vessels during a resupply mission to BRP Sierra Madre in Ayungin Shoal. The Philippine Navy says the China Coast Guard also fired a water cannon against one of the Philippine resupply ships. Former First Lady Imelda Marcos is hospitalized due to suspected pneumonia. In a message to reporters, the former First Lady's daughter, Senator Imelda Marcos, says her mom has been having bouts of fever and cough. According to the senator, her 94-year-old mother is hospitalized for close monitoring. The former First Lady underwent an angioplasty in May last year. Senator Robin Padilla is opposing a Senate committee's motion to cite alleged sex offender and sect leader Apollo Quiboloy for contempt. During a Senate panel's hearing on Tuesday, Ontiveros moved to cite Quiboloy for contempt and requested the Senate leadership to order the arrest of the controversial leader of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ. The Senate had issued 2 subpoenas to Quiboloy to compel him to face the legislative inquiry. But Quiboloy continued to skip the Senate's probe, admitting he is in hiding as he claimed threats against his life. However, Padilla objected to Ontiveros' motion to cite Quiboloy for contempt without categorically stating his reason.
Pagpaumanhin niyo po ninyo, aking pong tinututulan ang naging pasya na ma-contempt si Pastor Quiboloy. With all due respect, ma'am, ang aking pong mga kadahilanan para humingi ng ng pagpapakumbaba at ang karapatan ng pag-object. Napag-usapan po namin ito ng mahal na senadora.
In return, Ontiveros said Padilla's objection is well noted. Pursuant to Senate rules, Padilla has 7 days to gather majority votes in order to overrule the order.
Well noted po ng Chair ang objection ni Sen Robin sa ruling ng Chair holding Pastor Quiboloy in contempt. Meron naman po tayong gabay mula sa ating rules. Section 18, ito po yung Rules of Procedure Governing Inquiries in Aid of Legislation. So yung Section 18 po tungkol sa contempt, nakalagay po doon, A majority of all the members of the committee may, however, reverse or modify the aforesaid order of contempt within 7 days.
The Philippines and the United States will carry out annual military exercises next month in key locations, including Philippine Islands facing the South China Sea and Taiwan. In a briefing, Balikatan 2024 Executive Agent Colonel Michael Logico says the joint military exercises will move away from sprawling military camps in the countryside to locations in northern and western regions. The move is consistent with a shift in the country's focus from internal to external defense. This year's Balikatan exercises will also focus on cybersecurity training and information warfare. According to Logico, Batanes, which is the island province closest to Taiwan, could again be one of this year's exercise venues. However, he stresses that the activities will not focus on the democratically governed island. The exercises will also include areas in Palawan province in the South China Sea, where frequent maritime run-ins between Manila and Beijing have occurred over the past year.
It is natural for us to exercise in those areas kasi if it's part of Philippine territory, it's where we wave our flag, these are the areas where we defend. These are the locations so that we can adequately perform joint operations.
The Philippine Health Insurance Corporation, or PhilHealth, says the increase in members' contributions is necessary for the implementation of its improved benefit packages. According to PhilHealth Chief Emmanuel Ledesma Jr., the state health insurance provider has already implemented many enhancements in its health benefits packages in 2023 and will continue to improve its coverage in 2024. Ledesma says PhilHealth will rationalize case rates for bronchial asthma and bacterial sepsis in newborns and COVID-19 inpatient benefits. Guidelines for outpatient therapeutic care benefits package for severe acute malnutrition in children aged 5 years old and below, and services for physical medicine and rehabilitation will also be expected this year. But to make these improvements happen, the PhilHealth chief notes that a members' contribution increase is necessary. PhilHealth's increase in members' contribution from 4 to 5% is currently under review by President Bongbong Marcos amid the Health Secretary Ted Herbosa's call for the hike suspension. The Philippine passport drops to 78 out of 109 in the latest 2024 Henley Passport Index. The Philippine passports ranking as of February 29, 2024 is 5 points below its January 2024 ranking at 63rd. However, the number of countries Philippine passport carriers can travel to visa-free remains at 69. The Henley Passport Index oversees the global index of passport power and compares the visa-free access of 199 different passports to over 200 travel destinations. Meanwhile, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Singapore, and Spain top the list for strongest passports with visa-free access to 194 countries. Afghanistan remains the lowest on the list at 109th with a visa-free access to only 28 countries. Singapore says an incentive provided to Taylor Swift to make their country the only world tour stop in Southeast Asia was not a hostile act towards its neighbors. In a press conference, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong reiterates that they negotiated an agreement with Swift to come to Singapore and make it her only stop in Southeast Asia. Lee says he does not see the act as being unfriendly with other countries.
It has turned out to be a very successful arrangement. I don't see that as being unfriendly, and if that's what's needed to be done to get an outcome which is mutually beneficial and which, from Singapore's point of view, serves not just to grow the economy but also to bring in visitors and goodwill from all over the region, I don't see why not.
Swift currently has 6 sold-out shows in Singapore, her only stop in Southeast Asia. Singapore's government previously said it had given Swift a grant to play in the city-state without mentioning the terms of the deal. The announcement irked other countries in the region, including Thailand and the Philippines. Albai's 2nd District Representative Joey Salceda had said Singapore's exclusivity of Swift's concert was not what good neighbors do. Here's the latest roundup of today's top stories. At least 4 Philippine Navy personnel injured following China's Coast Guard's firing of a water cannon at a Philippine ship in the West Philippine Sea. Senate panel orders arrest of religious leader Apollo Quiboloy after he skipped the chamber's probe over his alleged crimes. And former First Lady Imelda Marcos hospitalized due to suspected pneumonia. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.